And we are back once again with another video, so make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below as we are reaching towards our goal of 1,100 subscribers. Also, make sure that you like this video if you enjoy it. Comment all your thoughts and opinions down below as we get into a bunch of talk about Maryland Terrapin football. Also, make sure that you check out the podcast. Link will be in the description, as well as the Patreon page if you'd like to support the channel, as well as College Football Roundup. Link will be in the description up top. Make sure that you check that out. College Football Roundup, there's going to be some exclusive content coming out on there, so make sure you check that out. There will be week-by-week predictions of a bunch of college football games in our College Football Roundup series. So make sure you check all those things out. Otherwise, let's get started with today's video. So, Maryland football, an interesting kind of setting here for Maryland. Last year, this is the fifth year under Mike Loxley. You had a 3-9 start off in the first year. Then you had a 2-3 COVID year. Then you had 7-6 in 2021, and in 2022 you finished with an 8-5 record. And this year really is a massive year for Loxley. If you are able to get a win here, one more win, get that 9th win in a bowl game, or get that 9th win in the regular season, or maybe even make it a 10-win season, it's going to be tough to do that, especially in the Big Ten East. But let's see what happens here. First of all, you start off with a win against Townsend. You should have no issue here. Townsend is not exactly known for being a football powerhouse, and you should get a pretty easy win there. Then you welcome the Charlotte 49ers, one of the newest members of the AAC conference. They joined the conference along with UTSA and I think UTEP and a couple other people. I'm trying to remember, but there was some conference realignment in the American Athletic. As many of you football fans know, there was a lot of that there. But Charlotte, they definitely have had their struggles. They definitely are going to have to increase in their football ability if they are going to compete in a conference that added UTSA, Florida Atlantic, North Texas, UAB, Rice, and Charlotte. So Charlotte definitely not, even though it's now kind of that Power 6 team, it is definitely not that way. It is more added because of the media market that Charlotte is. Then you have a home game against Virginia, and Virginia, they're just bad. Tony Elliott has this team in a bad spot. Tony Elliott is the second-year head coach at Virginia. Had a really bad year as his first year as the Cavaliers head coach after the stepping down of what's his name? Oh, I cannot think of it. Wow. I'll think of it later on in the video. But in Virginia, you lose Brennan Armstrong to NC State. You're just in a tough position. It's really it's a team that they have a lot to work on. And I think that you're just not in a good position. Bronco Mendenhall, that was the name of the coach. I was trying to remember, but really it's not a good year for Tony Elliott. They bring back some defensive starters, but offensively, they got a lot to work on, and I really just don't know what you're going to do with that, but I think you get a win there. Then you head to your first road game against Michigan State. It's kind of an interesting matchup. Mel Tucker definitely has this program in an interesting spot. Tucker and the Spartans finished with a very disappointing 5-7 record in Tucker's third year there. Now he enters into his fourth year, where I think really, to be honest, Tucker, this is it's not a make or break year, because I don't think that he'll get fired because of all the guaranteed money that he got and that contract extension. But it really is a big year with the loss of Peyton Thorne at quarterback. I think that this is going to be a win for Maryland, mostly because of the solid quarterback play from Talia Tagovailoa compared to Noah Kim. I think that you have a lot to work on if you're Michigan State, and I think Maryland, they're in a spot in which they're in much better place as a program than Michigan State is. Then you have Indiana coming to town, and I think that you continue your winning streak to kick off the year. Maryland seems to be very good. You said at the beginning of the year, winning a lot of games in a row. I think Tom Allen, he's on the hot seat. He definitely has a lot of work to do. And to be honest, I don't know whether he makes it through the end of this season. After a 6-2 great 2020 season, and even in the prior season when he went 8-5, a great season there, but he's gone 2-10 and 4-8. It's really just been a disappointing stretch past couple of seasons, and they only returned 8 starters total, 3 on the defense and 5 on the offense. You don't have Michael Penix anymore. I know he was gone last year too, but like just as a general practice, you're looking at a very tough scenario if you're an Indiana fan, and you even don't even bring back Connor Bazelak. So you're really in a tough position there. Then you head on the road to Columbus. By this point, I'm sure it's going to be a ranked matchup. If Maryland really is 5-0, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a top 20 matchup, maybe a top 15 matchup. It kind of depends on where Ohio State is at. But Ohio State, they're coming off a bye week for this game after they played Notre Dame the week prior, before the bye week. So this is a big matchup. And I think if Ohio State loses that Notre Dame game, I don't think that there's any chance that Maryland has. But assuming that Ohio State does kind of win that Notre Dame game, I think that this is a game that is possibly a win for Maryland. But at the end of the day, I do think that it is a loss. I think it's just too tough an environment to go play in the Horseshoe. I think that you got a lot of work to do if you're Maryland, and I just don't know if they can get enough points on the board, even though they played well last year against Ohio State, only losing by 13. I think the defense just isn't strong enough, and I don't think the offense is elite enough in order to get enough points on the board in order to play along with Ohio State's offensive capabilities. Though there's no CJ Stroud, so maybe the offense will take a step back. But this game midway through the season, it's not early on in the season, so I don't think that there's going to be an issue there. Then you head back home to play the Fighting Illini, and I have this game as a loss. I think that the Illini are just in a better position as a program. I know that Maryland brings back their quarterback and Illinois does not, but I really do think, and even Illinois, you lose Chase Brown, your running back, and you lose Sidney Brown, his brother, at safety, and you lose Devon Witherspoon, and you lose Kirby Jones. I get all those losses. Those are some tough losses, but the problem is that Illinois also brings back a line, both on the offensive and defensive line and wide receivers, that I think are just going to be better this year. And I think that this Illinois team truly is going to be a force to be reckoned with in the West. I think that this is a team that very easily could win the division. And I think that it is a team that, under Brett Bielema, I think that this is a team that it's on the rise. And with Luke Ottmeyer, quarterback, I do like where they're at. Then you have a road game against Northwestern. And even though Northwestern could be better this year than they were last year, maybe they'll get a couple more wins. I just don't see it in this game. I don't think that Northwestern is exactly the team that is going to be able to beat a good, solid Maryland team. I'm just going to give the win to the Terrapins. Then you welcome home Penn State, and I think that you get a win here. I think you get a kind of upset win. Really what I'm basing this off of is home field advantage. I think these two teams are in very similar spots. I think that Maryland and Penn State are both in very similar spots, though Maryland has the more experienced quarterback. I think that that's going to be very helpful. And with this game being at home, I just think at the end of the day, it comes down to the more experienced quarterback and home field advantage. And I think because both of those categories fall into the Terrapins' hands, I don't see a reason why you would not. So Then you have a road game against Nebraska. And this is where I kind of think it's you have all this hype, you win a big game, and then I think it kind of falls off. I think that you kind of catch yourself. It's such a trap game. It's in between Penn State and Michigan. It's a road game. I think that Matt Rule, by this point in the season, will have them somewhat turned around, and I think that you're just in a tough spot there. Then you have a home game against Michigan. I think that this is another loss. I think that Michigan, as a program, is in a much better spot. Michigan is one of the best teams in the country this year in a year of great uncertainty. I think that that's going to be a big deal for Michigan and a possible chance at a title, both Big Ten and national title. Then finally, you close off the year against Rutgers once again, this time in Piscataway. Even though I think that Rutgers, after 2 years of just getting absolutely whooped by Maryland with a 16-40 loss and a 37-0 loss, I do think that this game is much closer. But at the end of the day, I do think that Maryland gets the win. So I think Maryland finishes with the 8-4 record. I think that Maryland as a program is in a decent spot, and I think that they could get that 9th win in the bowl game, and I think it's possible maybe you beat Nebraska, but at the same time, maybe then you lose to Penn State. There are definitely some losable games and maybe some winnable games. Maybe you beat Illinois. But it is definitely going to be a good year for Maryland, in my opinion. I think 8-4, pretty good start there. Maybe you can tack on one more win and keep up this trajectory as a program. So that's going to wrap up today's video. Hit 2 videos down below. Hit the subscribe button up here. And as